United 93, released in 2006 and is directed by Paul Greengrass, who's also directed such films like The Bourne Supremacy, The Bourne Ultimatum, Green Zone, and Captain Phillips. And this film is starring a whole bunch of small-time actors. They didn't really want to get anyone starring in this movie that had a recognizable face or a name that would overshadow the topic and the title of this film. And it's also starring a lot of real-life people as themselves in the same position that they had and were in on that fateful day on September 11th, 2001. And the reason why we're talking about United 93 today, well, it's September 11th today, unfortunately. It's a day of remembrance, and this was also a PayPal recommendation and donation that was sent over to me from a contributor that I haven't heard from in a while, but he sent over this bomb of a movie to me that just, gosh, it just knocks me out. That's what this film does to you. But thank you very much, Ben Knox, for the recommendation. If anyone else out there also wants to be like Ben and help support me and contribute to this channel, you can select the QR code that is in the bottom left corner of your screen right now. Send over your donation of $5 or more with your movie recommendation, and if I have access to it, I will watch it, review it, and give you a little shout out, just like what I did with Ben Knox here. United 93 follows the final journey of this aircraft on that faithful day of September 11, 2001, where 4 planes were hijacked in midair, with 3 of their planes hitting their designated targets, 2 into the World Trade Center in New York City, and 1 at the Pentagon in Washington, D.C. But United 93 was the only plane that did not meet its target, as its passengers staged a mid-air revolt against the hijackers in an attempt to take back the plane. And you may have noticed, one of my favorite parts about doing this YouTube channel and setting up a brand new movie review is that cold open, that little joke, or that dad joke, or the funny little quip that I have before the intro starts rolling and I start reading off all the credits of this movie before I get into my review. That didn't happen with this movie because, honestly, I have nothing. There's no joy in me when I watch this movie. And I remember this took me a long time to watch it for the first time. This is only my second viewing of this film, and to be honest, it's probably going to be my final viewing, unless some memorial service is going to be showing it for some reason, because the movie just angers me. And it doesn't anger me from a technical and creative aspect. I think that this film is an excellent film. I think the cinematography here, it's out of this world. It is fantastic. I love the style, the directing style, Paul Greengrass. It's a very naturalistic take where he has this shaky cam effect with his cinematographer and how it just makes you feel like you are in the depths with Jason Bourne or Captain Phillips or all of these passengers on United 93. You feel like you are there. You feel like you are a passenger on this plane figuring out, what are we going to do? Are we going to just sit back and let things happen, or are we going to stand up and do something about this? And to Greengrass's credit, he also films from the side of the terrorists. The film opens, and we actually start with our terrorists in the hotel room getting ready, prepping, meeting, praying before they get on the plane, which is... it's quite the decision to do. But you also feel through the cinematography that you are part of that team. You are part of the hijackers. You are right there in the cockpit with them. And some of them are freaking out. Some of them are very high-strung, like, yes, this is the greatest thing we could possibly do. The other 2 are so worried. They're scared for their family. They're scared that their mission's going to fail. It's beautifully executed. And I think the performances in here, along with Paul Greengrass's take and directorial style, are very naturalistic. And I know that they did a ton of research with all the families trying to get as much information about the people who were actually on that plane and who actually died in this plane crash. They tried to get as much information as possible so that they could portray them in a respectful and accurate manner. And I will say that is it's a positive and a negative when it comes to the release of this film. You can tell that there is a lot of respect, not just the passengers of United 93, but all of the workers in the towers and all of the people working the plane and plane communications, and just how messy of a situation it was on that day. No one really had no idea what to do. Military personnel are trying to get clearance to send jets over America, which I don't know why you need clearance, because you're America anyway, but, you know, I'm not in the military. I'm not in the Air Force, so what do I know? But you can tell that there is respect given to the situation and these characters. I don't feel, though, this film was released in 2006, meaning that it was being shot in 2005. I actually believe it was October to December of 2005. That was 4 years after the events of that day. And gosh, it's 2024 and I still think it's too soon. I unfortunately was alive during this time. I was in 7th grade. I think everyone who was alive during this time remembers exactly where they were when they first found out about what was happening. And in the months and years that followed, the events of that day just started a whole bunch of fear and anger and warmongering towards a people, towards a nation that, looking back on it, may not have had anything to do with said terrorists. I don't know, that's its whole political thing. But this movie, it sparks up that anger that I felt as a 7th grader back then. I kept gnawing at my fingers while watching this movie, because the entire time I just want to tell these people, don't get on that plane. Just don't do it. Don't take off. Land the flights right away. And watching everyone freak out and not know who to communicate with or what to do or how to operate this situation. Oh, it baffles my mind and it makes me so angry. I believe in my Letterboxd review I said this film is excellent, and I absolutely hate it because I hate the emotion that it generates in me. And it's not a rewatchable movie. The only reason I feel like you would watch this movie is because you are in middle school or you're in high school and you're in your US history class and the teacher just wants a frame of reference for all the students who weren't there on that day or alive during that time to get a sense of what was going on. That's when you would watch this movie. This is my second time viewing it. And like I said before, I think it's going to be my final time. I don't see any reason why I would go back to watch this movie. Again, I think this film is excellent. It is excellently shot. It is beautifully told. There have been so many other films about the World Trade Center and September 11th, and plays written about it, and songs written about it, that exploited the shit out of that day, and exploited the shit out of all of these victims, families of all the people that lost their lives on this day. And this one too. I read in an article that this film, made a profit, and it only donated 10% of the opening weekend box office to the victims of September 11th and dedicated it to a memorial for them. Because, that helps dead people. 4 to 5 years removed from the actual events, I'm sorry, this film should not have made a profit at all. It should have been a non-profit. Any penny, any dime that this film made should have been divided equally amongst the families of the passengers of this flight. But no, they dedicated just a fraction of it to a memoriam for said people. And the Hollywood execs, everyone, they pocket the rest. So this is America. I'm going to give United 93 4 out of 5 Blu-rays.
I like it a lot.
So guys, if you've seen United 93, what did you think about it? Even better yet, please tell me your 9/11 story if you were alive for this. Where were you when you first found out that the World Trade Center was hit by a couple of planes and also the Pentagon? Whatever you thought and whatever your story is, please comment below and let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you the next time I'm releasing my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.